All right. Hello, friends. We're back. Your favorite podcast of the week. It's Location Weekly. It's episode number 637, and we're recording on September the 13th. If you're watching the video, you can see that Karsten is back with us for a second week in a row. Aubriana will be back next week, but we appreciate you filling in, Karsten. How are you?
I'm good, great. So autumn is coming, so we're going into the season where it's starting raining. We had a last great weekend, but the last weekend of the summer, I guess. And as mentioned last week, a lot of events are going on, so we're preparing for that. So Retail Loco in Atlanta is coming, also a lot of events here in Europe. So I'm flying to Lisbon the week after the Mexico next week, so visiting the World Aviation Festival, those kind of things. So it's great, yeah. I love the season, but after it's good when it's finished. What about you? How are you?
Yeah, same. There's a lot happening. So a lot of preparation for Retail Loco, November 1st, 2nd in Atlanta. Yeah, there's a Wi-Fi industry conference happening here in Toronto next week. Week after that, I'm in Chicago for a sponsorship marketing conference. So yeah, it's all kicking up. And then I'm in Tokyo for a week too before Retail Loco. So yeah, it's busy.
Yeah. It's good. I love it. Love to see people and love to reconnect with the industry. And you can see now after COVID, a lot of things are happening. So we're back in innovation, and also the motivation of the retailers and the brands is higher than ever before. I love it.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, we have four stories as usual, so I'll let you kick us off with some UK news.
Absolutely. So Marks and Spencer, so a retailer out of UK. Most of you know them. So mostly placed in high streets. They are using now artificial intelligence to see whether products are in the store. So they rolled out together with a company called Symphony AI Retail. A computer vision and AI technology on the handheld devices used in the by the store associates in over 500 stores. So what they have, so they have the handhelds where they're often doing their order processes on. So they added a technology on this that they can see on the shelf and see where the products are in the shelf, and then they can just see if they are on the right space, and if the planogram is right, what you have, if you're familiar with the retail industry, those people are really want to know where the product is on the shelf, how many facings they are, so out of stock situations and things like that. And sometimes it's moving in the shelf by themselves or by the customers or by the store associates. So just to correct that, and also get some real-time insights. So the technology offers immediately insights about the connected store environment. So you can see in real time at the headquarter what's going on shelf level, which is just brilliant. Yeah, and we saw a lot of those things back in the days where we were just using cameras, and the first camera system was installed in the stores. So now they have it on the handheld devices. Yeah, and also helps to make business easier, and also helps to avoid out of stock situations from products the customer is searching for, but the store associate didn't know that it should be on the shelf. So there will be just an error message for this. So yeah, it's a great technology, and artificial intelligence is helping just to identify the products. And as you know, those pictures are sometimes if you just turn the box, or it's in a bag or not in a box, but it's the same product. So it's helpful. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think we're seeing so many different applications of AI right now, in many different ways, and I think this is, an interesting and useful application for store associates and planogramming and things like that. We've seen kind of different approaches to this with, using like digital twin type of technology. We did a story on Lowe's some time ago where they created kind of a complete, digital copy of the store environment, and then use that for training of associates, for planogramming and all those kinds of things. So And obviously they're taking a different approach here with, the handheld devices and computer vision technology. So I think the bottom line is that I think businesses are looking for efficiencies. Retailers are looking for these efficiencies in terms of, where, they can have better information, more real-time information, how it impacts potentially staffing implications. So I like what they're doing here with the Symphony AI platform.
Absolutely. And also we saw a lot of hardware infrastructure on the shelf level too. So I remember the times where you had this hardware um, on the shelf, which is just squeezing the product, so you have this fixed location of the product, so you could not move it and just bring it forward to you. Yes, so lots of things are going on there.
Awesome. All right, on to our second story, and this one is more of an acquisition. So there's a company out there called Neptune, and they have announced the acquisition of Quotient technology. And so the Neptune Retail Solutions, that is. So I think this one, kind of came to my attention because it's something actually that goes back to the summer. It's a $430 million cash acquisition of Quotient's technology platform. And it comes with it some proprietary sort of data analytics technologies for measuring performance around out of home and media networks, and that's kind of the space that Neptune is in. So they're an in-store media network platform. They work with a lot of big retailers in the U.S. Ahold, Albertsons, CVS, Family Dollar, Kroger, and many others. They also own the loyalty, cashback rewards app called Checkout 51, which I didn't realize they owned. And it's interesting because that is a Canadian Toronto-based creation. And I know the founders quite well. At one point I interviewed to work with them a long time ago. So that one's an interesting story. But yeah, I think, what we're seeing here is, these, a rise of these media network platforms, a lot of growth, a lot of interest in that. And then coming with that means you need to have tools for attribution and measurement. And I think you're going to see, that's what this acquisition, really speaks to for me. The other thing is, Quotient, prior to this acquisition, launched a platform called Brand Safety. And this has implications for our world as well, in the sense that it's a measurement platform for ensuring that the ads that are being displayed in inventory are near the points of interest in the venues or the businesses, and it aligns with the messages that those brands want to get across. So it's not just attribution and measurement; it's alignment of the message as well, which is, I think, also interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree what you said. So it's coming together, and the KPIs, everybody's searching for that and new technology. And sometimes those kind of acquisitions are just, filling the gap which you have developed in your own company by using new technology or new services or better connected services as before. So most of these acquisitions, you'll have a bottom line below. So where the truth is, for us, obviously, it's good to connect this and have the data. Well, great to see.
Yeah. Okay.
Going back to Germany. So
Back to
start from
Germany.
Germany. Thanks for picking this. So a German robotics startup called Sewts has successfully succeeded 7 million in a Series A funding round. So what are they doing? And this is interesting. So you see now a lot of robots, and this company is specialized in developing robots for the clothing industry, and not just for packaging and bringing this clothes together. It's more like solving the problem every retailer has when it comes to returns. So you bought something online or in the store, then you have to bring it back, and then you have to return it, and then you have to manually bring it into the right position, to do it in the folding machine, things like that. And this is what they're literally doing. So they are capable, their robots are capable to just grab the piece of clothes out of a box or out of the carton, the whatever transport medium they had. So, and then they can just bring it into the folding machine, and just automatization in the laundry industry. So that's kind of interesting to see, because it's a highly manual labor work where we are talking, even if you go into a laundry now. So, and this is what they do. So they're having robots for clothing, and they try to solve the problem of returns and make it more efficient, and also do it on site. So don't send it far away, even for the production of clothes. So one of the goals of the company is obviously just save the environment a bit better, environmental impact, to bring in the textile production and recycling closer to the customers, because you can install that in a lot of laundries, and reducing labor work. So yeah, that's what it is. Let's see how it works. At the end of the day, it's a question of market acceptance with these new technologies, especially in this traditional laundry industry. I never have heard about robots there. So I know about ironing robots, but it's manual work to put the clothes over the shirt or whatever. Yeah, I love it. It's from Germany, and this is also the reason I love it. So we're good in robotics. So I have a lot of good startups here doing good things.
Yeah, and they're Munich based.
Technically, I have no clue. Sorry.
Uh,
Well, it's pretty sure it must be somewhere in Bavaria, but one of the investors is the Bavarian capital. Of
must
ventures,
be
so
them.
there must be somewhere in yeah, but I can Google it.
Yeah.
I'll figure
All right.
it out.
Well, while you're doing that, I'll go on to our one comment about that, I guess, and then we jump to the final story. So I think this topic's coming up a lot lately about robots, and what does that mean for staffing and replacing humans, and these kinds of things. And for me, I'm a big proponent of robotics and using robots for these kinds of tasks. I think we are should be trained to do something that's higher level than folding clothes in the back of a store, to put it back on a shelf or something like that. So I think this is a good use of robotic technology. And it's interesting to see like the evolution in these things, that like to be able to handle a fabric and manipulate it and things like that, I think takes
It's changing a lot.
uh,
So if you look, fashion is changing very quick. So even if you just program your robot to do the curtain stuff in the right way, then maybe different fabric is coming out, and so it's the whole haptic thing's changing. And yeah, they are from Munich, and they are based also in a small town called Garching in front of Munich, where our university has its biggest campus. So maybe there's a relationship. We have to figure that out.
okay. All right, on to our final story. We're coming back to Canada here. And Adapt Media, which is a large out-of-home player in the space, is spinning off into a separate company its analytics division, which they're calling Datalytica. Kind of a good name, I think. So it'll be under. So they already had this company called Chameleon Digital Media, which was their sort of data measurement component of their out-of-home business. And so they're launching this as under this brand. Chameleon Digital is launching a platform called Datalytica. And why I wanted to pull this story out is because it's interesting. It in some respects has some parallels to sort of when I created Ground Level Insights, because a lot of people were like, okay, you're collecting location data and you're using it for this and you're creating insights and so on. And then, there's the discussion about ad targeting and the relationship between those two. And we made a very conscious decision from the beginning to say, okay, we're focusing on using the data at, scale to, look at insights and population movement and sort of those kinds of things, and for the most part stayed out of the advertising use cases. And I think from a privacy perspective, there's a general movement to say, you have to sort of be on one side or the other. If you try to be the data collector and the one that's using it, you can quickly run into problems. Not that it's impossible, but you can run into problems. And in some respects, that's what we're seeing here is they've got their out-of-home business, the advertising side of the business, and then they have the sort of the data side of the business, and they're separating them into two separate companies now. They've also hired Adrian Seeley, who's the former head of sales for Pelham Media, which is the company that runs the Weather Channel, the Weather app here in Canada. So a lot of experience in first-party data and mobile apps and location data in particular. So I think this is interesting. So all of the sort of business that's around loyalty and location data and payments and analytics and those kinds of things will fall under this Chameleon Digital Datalytica platform, and then the out-of-home business will stay with Adapt Media. Obviously, they'll keep a relationship between the two, but I think it's pretty interesting. And like I said, I could even see scenarios where even what we're doing at ground level right now, could plug into something like this, in a data sense. So, lots of opportunities I think this creates, because when you have a strong data business, but it's owned by one company, there's sort of less chance that, your competitors are going to want to, use your data. If you spin it out into something completely separate, now you sort of make it a little more unbiased, and you have the opportunity to have other businesses, now, want to use that data, thus growing your potential revenue. So I think it's interesting.
Yeah, I'm agreeing. But there's different trends we saw over the past years. So sometimes you want to own the data, but only by your own. And then we have the different, the opposite trend in the industry. So sharing the data as much as you can. So those both parts are. I don't think there's a right or wrong, but maybe there's something in between you have to keep an eye on. And as you mentioned before, it's different. It's difficult sometimes if you use the data and you collect the data in the same way. But in general, I like the idea, and so obviously they're good stuffed. So that's what it is.
Yeah. There you go. So that's our show for this week. You've been listening and watching episode 637 of Location Weekly. We want to remind you that Retail Loco is on the corner, November 1st and 2nd in Atlanta. We're doing that in partnership with Simon Malls and Nobu Hotels at Phipps Plaza in Atlanta. A lot of opportunities left if you want to get involved from a speaker point of view or sponsorship still. As well as, we just love to see you there in person as an attendee. So just go to thelbma.org and click on the events page, and you'll see all the information there. And we'll see you next week. Aubriana will be back, and we'll see you for another show. Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you very much for having me. Have a great week.